why they won't just book you and Islam. There's many times that I wish I was running the UFC. I would change so many different things. That would be one of the first things I would change. I'm like, book that fight right away.
Joe Rogan just ignited the MMA world, demanding that UFC book Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, leaving no room for further excuses. He made it clear in his most recent podcast, this is the fight fans need, and the UFC needs to make it happen. Despite Joe's bias toward wanting to see Topuria face Islam, he kept things real when it came down to merit. In other words, from a pure competitive and ranking-based approach, Joe believes that Jack Della Maddalena is actually the one who has earned a shot, underlining Jack's consistency, tough wins, and rising stock in the division.
Even if he wins, they're gonna make that fight happen against Islam.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, if Jack Della Maddalena wins, then Jack is the new welterweight champion. And, you know, maybe he fights Islam. That makes a lot of sense. The problem with Islam fighting Bilal is that they train together.
He acknowledges that stylistically and from a legacy standpoint, his preference would be for a Islam versus Bilal Muhammad fight. To him, it carries depth. The two dominant grapplers with strong game plans will be tested in endurance and will. It is the kind of clash that tells a larger story beyond just rankings.
If Bilal wins, but that's an if, Jack Della Maddalena is a bad motherfucker. He's good, man. That guy's good.
Ilia, on the contrary, took the stand that denied any possibility of reconciliation. In his mind, fighting Islam is not an issue of if, but of when. For him, that fight is already a foregone conclusion. He reminded the audience that he vacated his featherweight title and left the entire division behind for one purpose only, to fight Islam Makhachev. For Ilia, this is more than a simple call-out. It is a promise.
I said, till you're gonna have to fight me. Okay? You say that you are the world champion, you're gonna keep dominating the division, all that. I'm here. You can't keep avoiding me all the time.
So you would just sit on the sidelines rather than fight someone else?
I don't think that they're gonna do that. I don't think they would put me on a sideline because they asked me to. I vacated the belt because I told them that I wouldn't fight in 145 again, but I get the promise that I would fight for the title in my next fight.
As discussions build up on the possibility of a match between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, several leading MMA analysts have begun to divulge their views regarding how such an encounter could play out. One of them, Michael Chandler, predicted with enthusiasm who he thought would win the bout. That concerns the size of this prospective crash. When veterans and elite fighters begin analyzing already unestablished possibilities, the hype is for real. This is no longer a fantasy matchmaking endeavor. It is now a real fight and talk of the MMA community.
If Islam and Ilia Topuria go at it, who do you think wins?
Ilia Topuria may be one of my favorite guys to watch stylistically. How he doesn't force things, not getting emotional, not pushing too hard, also not taking his foot off the gas. He's just right there in the middle until he lands the big knockout punch. So I think he could catch Islam, but if that fight goes anything past 15 minutes, I think Islam beats him handedly just because Islam is a large 155er and I don't think Ilia is that big. But ton of respect for both of those guys, especially Ilia Topuria.
Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson expressed his emotional reaction when solicited for his opinions on a fanciful pairing of Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. He covered both fighters and their styles. According to Johnson, Islam is purely dominant, grappling with control, whereas Ilia is explosive and strikes well with his movement. For him, the combination of such skills makes this fight a death grip. It would be one of the most curious matchups happening in mixed martial arts right now, and if it were to happen, it could be a true test of whose discipline reigns supreme inside the octagon.
Ilia Topuria moving up to lightweight. If he does fight Islam Makhachev, you obviously fought both guys. How do you think that fight goes?
The three-piece combination, a four-piece combination to try to knock you out, but then you got to worry about Islam's, judo, getting close, closing the distance, going to the clinch, looking to, use the sweeps. That's going to be, I think, the X factor. Who's going to be able to execute and get themselves in a safe place to be able to outwork the other guy.
When asked during an interview, Max Holloway also gave his opinion on the possible matchup of Islam versus Ilia. With evident conviction, he chose Islam Makhachev as the probable winner. He pointed out that despite the hype, the bout isn't likely to happen anytime soon, with further deserving candidates like Diego Lopes and Justin Gaethje pushing on the door. In Max's opinion, the division still has unfinished business before a super fight like this this can happen.
Ilia versus Makhachev, what would you think? Who would win?
I mean, bro, it's hard to go against Islam. His fighting style is a tough one. You know, he likes wrestling. He likes striking. Now he's falling in love with his striking. It's hard to bet against Islam. At the end of the day, if he gets it, that's cool, but probably not. He has Volk and Diego driving down the door right now, so I think it might keep him down here.
Chael Sonnen went on to offer his opinion on the matter, and this added some weight to the conversation. He imagined that Khabib Nurmagomedov was probably planning the next move of Islam Makhachev, be it a rematch with Arman Tsarukyan or setting up for a move to the 170-pound division. Thus, according to Sonnen, both paths illustrated Khabib's long-term thinking with respect to Islam's career, either continuing to dominate at lightweight or going for history in a second weight class. In that line of thought, it made Chael applaud Khabib for indeed thinking like a champion, advisor smart, calculating, and always legacy bound instead of the immediate hype.
And I'm bringing this to you because all of a sudden, Ilia Topuria is having to respond to things that Khabib said. Khabib has comes out and said, I'm going to take Islam and I'm going to get him out of this division. If we stay here, we fight Artem Tsarukyan, who's ranked #1 and who has beaten Charles. Charles has beaten all the rest of you. So as sportsmen that do the right thing, that's what we're going to do. Or we're going to go to 170, in which case we will fight anybody. Let me change the words, but tell you Khabib's position. He represents a guy named Islam. He cares greatly about this guy, and he thinks he's the best fighter in the world. And this guy has never lost at 155 pounds. Don't correct me. Please don't take the time to correct me. He's never lost at 155 pounds. He's proven that he's actually the best. He's a little bit annoyed that another guy is coming in from a different division who, while doing great in that division, has not proved himself at all in this division. This, the one that Khabib's pupil has done so well in.
However, regardless of this praise, Chael Sonnen gave a refined opinion, pointing out a double standard in the raging debate. He argued that while Khabib is defending Islam Makhachev's move to 170 pounds to chase legacy opportunities, he is criticizing Ilia Topuria's effort to jump into the 155-pound division and challenge for the title right away. This, Chael feels, is a bit hypocritical. Both fighters are basically trying for the same thing, to forge greatness in a new weight class. One earns esteem, the other is told, earn it. It is a convoluted thing that Sonnen was brave enough to address.
And there is a but. If we can do it, but they can't do the same thing, I will tell you, when you want to talk about legacy, one thing that's really important to do is to never have a match in your past that you avoided.
Moving on, Daniel Cormier came in as an advocate for Khabib Nurmagomedov, so to speak, having been around him for years and able to offer that insight. According to DC, Khabib isn't talking out of both sides of his mouth. Khabib's position is firmly based on legacy. Everything Khabib says and does, according to Cormier, is meant for the sake of Islam Makhachev's career and future. It would not be designed to take away from Ilia Topuria, but to ensure that Islam takes the most intelligent path of securing his historical place in MMA. For Khabib, it has never been personal, always the confluence of the larger picture and what is best for that champion he helped create.
Khabib is about as straight a shooter as you're ever going to find. I'm telling you, when he's mad at me, he tells me. When he's mad at someone else, he tells you. He doesn't hide. So when you hear him say things publicly, take it as fact. This isn't him posturing. This isn't these guys trying to raise the price on the fight or anything. This is a true emotion, a true feeling, because honestly, that's how these guys operate. Islam has title fight victories, but they're Volkanovski, huge name of the featherweight, Dustin Poirier, name, right? And he probably felt the love after Renato Moicano, right? On short notice. So of his 4 fights, there are a lot of situations where he just didn't probably feel the love. And if you're trying to build a legacy, you got to feel that love. The update should not feel good for people that support the idea that Ilia Topuria should fight next.
Ilia Topuria appears not to be bothered much by what Khabib thinks about the entire issue. He has made it abundantly clear that he is not on what Khabib wants. It's rather what the UFC decides. Topuria has made calls for UFC intervention and that he should be given the chance just like Henry Cejudo, Conor McGregor, and Georges St-Pierre have enjoyed in the past. It should matter just as much as rankings in his unconventional eyes. Whether a fighter has star power, the timing, and willingness to step up. He believes believes that he has earned that same treatment and is ready to seize the moment if the UFC is willing to make the call.
Yes.
They gave it to Henry Cejudo, they gave it to Conor McGregor, they gave it to George St. Pierre, they gave it to John, they gave it to everyone.
Right. Yep.
And I proved that I deserve that shot. As you said, I knock out
Two of the all-time greats.
two of the all-time greats. To the greats, Volk, who was like dominating everyone in 145 division, and Max Holloway. Great fighters, both of them.
Joe Rogan also echoed Topuria's sentiments, stating that Islam Makhachev has effectively cleaned out the 155-pound division. In Rogan's view, there are no truly fresh or deserving contenders left at lightweight who could generate the kind of intrigue and excitement that a clash with Topuria would. He emphasized that this is the type of fight that moves the needle, not just for rankings, but for fans, legacy, and the sport itself. For Rogan, it's simple. Topuria is the next big challenge, and there's no better time to make it happen.
If you look at it, like
Who
he's
else?
kind of cleaned out the division. There's no
Who else?
no one else. I mean, Arman's got to build himself back up.
Yeah.
He's not going to get a title shot.
I would put Justin Gaethje against Paddy Pimblett.
Sean O'Malley also jumped in on the ever-growing conversation, siding with Joe Rogan on whether an Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev fight would be, in blessed words, nothing short of spectacular. For O'Malley, the clash has all the makings of a blockbuster elite fighters from different divisions, both riding immense momentum and both looking to cement their legacy. It is indeed the kind of hallowed contest that fans live the truly high-stakes matchup.
If I could pick Ilia versus Islam, I would pick that. That would be such a sick fucking fight. I want to see that one. Dude, anyone who sits there in the pocket and trades with Ilia, though, he's going to end up fucking foreign. I feel like Diego Lopez would try to sit in there with him, but
what was Ilia's reach? Was it the same as Max?
yep.
Dude, anytime those short guys have just as long a reach, it's as tricky style. Short but long reach.
Fucking Max, though, dude, coming off UFC 300, just the DMF, the man knocking out Justin Gaethje.
Topuria mentioned Islam Makhachev's name, hinting that the fight between them might have already been in the works. Not giving too much away, he has indicated that he could have preliminarily talked to the UFC, suggesting that discussions are going on behind closed doors. He refrained from officially confirming anything, but his whole demeanor and words suggested confidence, almost as if he knows something the public is yet to know about. This has further heightened the fans' speculation that the clash will soon become a reality, much sooner than they might expect.
The UFC calls you up and says, I know you want a world title fight. We guarantee you a world title fight after this.
Actually, we had that talks a little.
Really?
Yeah, but yeah, I
What
don't
was
know.
What was that talk? Tell me what that talk was like.
No.
Come on.
After this one, I'm gonna get some calls. That you know how the UFC is. They are like
Yeah.
very specific.
Yes.
Don't say anything
Right.
to
Too
no
late.
one.
Well, no one's listening. You can tell everybody.
Yeah. Only a couple of million of people is listening. Yeah.
Daniel Cormier also gave further insight into why Khabib could be so against the fight between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. As far as DC sees it, part of the reluctance is because Topuria did not really do anything at 155. No ranked opponents, no real resume in the division. It does not compute for a title shot. But according to Cormier, there is a deeper layer to this problem: public apathy toward Islam's resounding victory over an ex-featherweight ruler, Alexander Volkanovski. Given the situation, some people dismiss the win because of Volk's moving up in weight. That kind of narrative might be just what Khabib and folks want to avoid repeating.
Okay, let's imagine that Ilia moves up and gets a title shot right away. Islam beats him. Then Ilia fights again. He loses again. So basically, he was a nobody at 155. Islam beat a nobody at 155 because of that time. But because of that, in terms of legacy for Islam, for his resume, I understand Islam's risk. These things started to get said. I was trying to explain to people that Islam had fought the champ Volkanovski at 145. The first fight was competitive. The second fight on short notice, Islam was able to finish him. I believe that in those interactions, the response was why he's more opposed to, if that's the case. It sounds more now like it's not worth it. I believe the response to those fights is why they feel
it's not worth it.
Agreeing with Joe, Justin Gaethje has also gotten into the mix of things himself. He has pretty much ensured that his name will be amongst those considered when title shots come round for the lightweight championship. In competition after competition, with his numerous intense performances and several wins over the division's top-ranking fighters, Gaethje feels he has more than earned the opportunity. For years now, he has hung around at the top of the division, facing one of the toughest matchups in the game almost every time.
Me, Oliveira, or Tapura. So I'm hoping they call my name, pull my number, pull my card. Outside that, I haven't even thought about it. I'm hoping that's the case.
Are you willing to fight one of those guys if it guarantees the title shot?
I'm sure, yeah, we'll see. I don't know what I'm willing to do or where we're at with my career. It's a big business that we're running. Not the beginning no more, you know, I think I've earned my shot. I would love to get that. And but we'll see what we have to do.
If you enjoyed the breakdown, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, Team Islam or Team Ilia, and don't forget to subscribe for more firefight talk. Till next time, keep your hands up and your takes hotter.